This is the Jack Murphy Podcast. Here's your host, Jack Murphy.
All right, I have a photo I want to show you before we get started today, Alpha.
All right.
It's called Identify the Object. That's the name of the game. Yesterday, we had a trivia question. Today, it's Identify the Object. Here we go. What is this object?
Stack of rice cakes.
Stack of rice cakes, he says.
Yeah.
Let me show it to you one more time.
Okay.
Give you a little better look at it. What is that object?
Those dry scrubber things.
Dry scrubber things is incorrect as well. The end of the podcast, don't let me forget,
Okay.
I will identify the mystery object in the picture. Welcome to the Jack Murphy Podcast. I'm Jack Murphy, my actor buddy Alpha Trevette back with us today. Great to have you with us. If you haven't, go ahead and subscribe. It's easy. You just open a YouTube account. It's free. Subscribe. Join the throngs that are flocking to the podcast. So this morning on my walk in the woods, Alpha, I said the world is a confusing place.
Yes, it is.
And I said that because I don't know if you've seen this or not, but, you know, if you watch the news and if you watch YouTube, there are pundits everywhere, including us. I guess we're pundits of a type, but you hear some people say, boy, China's really taken over the world. Their technology, their AI, just look at these modern cities in China. And you kind of get worried. You get a little bit scared, right?
Yeah.
And then you can go over to another pundit and they'll say, they got these tofu dregs in China where they got all this money from the government. They borrowed all this money. They built these big towers and they're uninhabitable because they're so unsafe.
Yeah.
They're collapsing. They don't have any safety standards. And the Chinese economy's falling apart. They've had a giant real estate bubble. And you don't know who do you believe?
Right.
And it seems like the media, the Foxes, the CNN, the CBS, just kind of ignore it. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Yeah. And then what you also brought up on your walk was this bridge that was
I've got a video of it.
I'm wonder of the world.
Yeah. This bridge, they just opened, and it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever been, but up in West Virginia, that bridge they built across the gorge.
Yeah, the New River Gorge.
New River Gorge, and they had the parachuting off of it once a year. It looks about that size, but this is a concrete bridge as opposed to a steel span bridge. But anyway, they just opened this thing, and it's already fallen down. Watch this video.
Hey, boy.
Oh, Chamadillo.
Chamadillo. Chamadillo.
Chocamalo.
From Pamelo.
Conditions on the mountain deteriorated.
I read the story, and it sounds like, all right, you picked a really crappy place to build a bridge, or you didn't prepare the site, but Chumkamalo, that means bridge a falk down low.
Yeah, and there are too many armadillos on it. Apparently.
Something about an armadillo. I think they were on the mountainside, burrowing into the hill, caused rocks to come. But anyway, my point is, you don't really see a lot of this stuff on the mainstream media where they explore what's true, what's false about China. Because I don't know who to believe.
It's true with the military, too, because they just built their largest aircraft carrier.
Right.
There was no Chinese Navy a few years ago. Now they're supposed to have the largest Navy in the world. And you wonder, as they talk about this and talk about how brilliant their engineering is and the weaponry is so awesome. Just the other day, there was something about these new drones that they have developed that are supposed to be the next level. And then you see something like this, and you see those cities that you talked about that are sitting totally empty. And you're right. You don't know. I mean, okay, who's to to be believed here. And there are some Chinese experts or experts on China who say, man, they are in trouble. Their economy is collapsing. They don't have
Yeah,
a unified
I see
population.
that President Xi may not even be in control. He may just be a puppet at this point. And as to that Navy that you talked about, the largest Navy in the world, that is true that they have the most vessels at sea. The problem is about 90% of their vessels don't have the capability to go more than 600 or 800 miles.
Right.
So they're really not a danger on the open ocean. I mean, they can protect China and perhaps participate in an attack on Taiwan. And then the other thing, same deal with Ukraine. I turn on the news and I hear, boy, Ukraine is really giving it to the Russians. They've taken back territory. They've got these new drones. They're attacking deep inside Russia. And I think, okay, well, I guess that money we gave them helped. And then you turn on another pundit and it's like, the war's pretty much over. Ukraine just doesn't know it yet. The Russians have the upper hand, and there's just no way Ukraine can win. Where's the... Remember when we were younger? Remember when we were kids in Vietnam? They actually had reporters there, and they were reporting, or even back in 1990, 91, during the first Iraq War. CNN was there. They had reporters there. They were reporting live. We don't have it anymore, and I don't understand why not.
I'm not sure even with that you could trust the reporting out of there. I mean, they reported it for Vietnam, for example. They reported what a devastating loss it was for the United States in the Tet Offensive. The Tet Offensive was actually very successful for the United States. But the story from here was it was a disaster. We're losing the war. Vietnam is defeating us. They have the upper hand. And that mushroomed into bringing home all of our Vietnam veterans, accused them of being baby killers, and their welcome was horrible. And I feel so much for those people.
Well, I don't want to relitigate I don't want to relitigate the Vietnam War, but I just don't understand, in the information age with the internet that we live in, why can't we get accurate information about what's going on in China? Why can't we get accurate information about what's going on in Ukraine? It seems like the only place I can get accurate information anymore is about the Golden Bachelor.
Exactly. That's what I...
we've talked a little bit about the Golden Bachelor. We first brought up the Golden Bachelor when he stuck his foot in his mouth when the show was first getting ready to begin. And he said he didn't want any, what was it? He said he didn't want anybody over 60. And I thought, you signed up for the Golden Bachelor. What, you think they're going to have you and a bunch of 35-year-old hot chicks running around for you?
Who do you think you are, Bill Belichick?
Yeah. And then what was the other thing he said? Didn't want anybody over 60. Was it no children or no great? Wasn't it something equally as stupid that he said?
No fatties? I don't know.
So I've got some photos.
Okay.
So anyway, he picked one. She is 62 years old, by the way.
Mm.
She's a retired firefighter and bomb tech.
Oh.
I'm not sure I'd went with that in case you say the wrong thing. Yeah. I'd be afraid she'd blow me up.
Honey, what's that ticking?
Now, the other thing is he gave her a ring. I don't know if that means they're engaged. He gave her some kind of a ring. His name is Mel Owens. If I were the producers, I would have changed his name to Buck Owens and given him a guitar and a funny colored coat to wear on the show.
Yeah.
But anyway, here's a picture of the happy couple smooching it up after the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she looks pretty good.
She does?
Looks pretty good. I got a solo photo of her, but I'm going to give it 6 months. What about you?
The over and under? Well, the last one was 3 months, and I think that went longer than it should have. Yeah, she's very, very attractive, very trim looking, very nice. Yeah. Okay.
In shape.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't give those things much more than 7, 8 months. So I'll do 8.
I don't either. They just, it's just too contrived.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all. So there's your information on the Golden Bachelor. We've tried to keep you updated.
We go for all the important stuff.
Exactly. Now, anytime we can't get information on something important, we go for the cheap, sleazy stuff.
To say their final goodbyes to this fallen Louisville police officer, D.D. Mangudu. Now, Alpha, I want you to explain this to me because this is clearly over my head. You're
right.
the more educated, smarter of the two of us. So, House Democrats attempted another anti-Trump smear on Wednesday having to do with the Epstein files. Now, I don't watch. If I see somebody like Jasmine Crockett or one of those, I turn the channel. I just can't. I won't put myself through it because my blood pressure goes up.
I know, and you can't have that. Yeah, it's your health. Your health's at stake here.
And I can't watch Schumer, Double Dong Schumer, I call him. I can't watch him. And so I miss out on a lot of information. What is it that they did to try to connect Trump to Epstein again?
Well, they tried to bring up some of the old emails.
Okay.
And some of these from, what was her name? Giuffre. I forget her first name. She was, no, that's Giselle Maxwell or Ghislaine Maxwell. But Giuffre was one of the victims.
Okay. So these were emails between one of the victims and
him, I suppose. I don't know what the specific emails were about. No, between her and Ghislaine, I believe. And some excerpts from her book in which she says,
victim, all right, so let me get this straight. The victim wrote a book, and she was emailing Ghislaine.
Right.
Okay.
And she later committed suicide in Australia after she said, if I die, I didn't kill myself, just like Epstein.
That was the victim? This happened to the victim?
Yes, she
First
died.
I'm hearing of this. Again,
really,
this is just like China and Russia.
See, they keep this from you specifically, I'm sure. She died in Australia a few months ago. And
I'm sorry to hear that. That's very sad.
It was suicide.
Of course it was.
Yes.
And Hillary Clinton was not in the country at the time.
That we know of.
Okay.
There were some redactions in what they submitted. This was for a committee. And speaking of Jazzy J, Jasmine Crockett, that's what she says. Well, there were some redactions, but it specifically said that she never saw Trump doing anything improper, and she never saw him at the Epstein mansion. Now, Tim Burchett, who's a congressman from Tennessee, moved to have all the information read on the House floor.
Right.
And the Democrats voted it down. Now, if there was incriminating evidence on Donald Trump, then they would have been all for it, don't you think? I mean, they would have wanted that information.
Of course they would have. So why would they not? Why did they not want it read on the floor? Because it had been redacted so much, and they'd only been talking about the little select pieces they'd pulled out of there?
Because it totally annihilated the arguments they had about Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump.
Because I've been hearing the Epstein buzz, everywhere from the Democrats the last few days, and I go, what's changed? Because if something big had happened, we'd know about it, and I figured it was nothing, and it sounds like it's nothing.
If there was something there, it would have been talked about a long time ago.
Yeah,
now, I'm not discounting the fact that there might be a lot of Republicans on his list, and and Democrats as well. But if you want the information out there, there was your chance to do it, and they voted it down.
Something else has happened with President Trump, and I, for one, I'm pretty happy about this. And let me tell you what it is. It's this new directive from President Trump instructing our embassies worldwide to begin tightening visa issuance standards for applicants with costly medical conditions.
Uh-huh.
Now, I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently it is. Apparently, if you live in a foreign country and let's say you're obese and you've got diabetes, it's very expensive to get treatment. It's hard to get drugs, etc. So those people are trying their best to immigrate to the United States. I don't really know why. I guess they think we have better medical or cheaper medical care here. We don't, by the
Yeah.
way. We don't. Drugs are not cheap here. They're probably cheaper where you are. But what they're really trying to do, according to this story that I'm reading here, the U.S. Department of State says that they're going to restrict cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease, cancers, diabetes, metabolic diseases, neurological, mental health disorders, and obesity because they come here and they get on Medicaid. And then the taxpayers have to pay for the treatment.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody's got cardiovascular disease living in Uganda or they've got cancer and they come here, you know it's going to cost the taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. So they're
Now,
pretty much saying no fatties coming into the country.
And I'm all for it. Listen,
Yeah.
we have our own problems with fatties. We have fatties and obese people everywhere. 40% of America is fat, and about 30+% are obese. So the last thing we already have a McRib shortage. We don't need more fat people coming here, making the airplanes more crowded, making the lines at McDonald's longer. If you're thin and in good shape, we'll take a look at you.
Well, if you remember, I mean, people keep saying we are a nation of immigrants. Well, yes, we were, but immigrants came here years ago to become Americans, not to bring their style of government or ideology here. And they had to go through Ellis Island. And what did they do at Ellis Island? They not only checked you for your ID, they checked for criminal records, and they ran a health check on you.
I saw The Godfather. He had tuberculosis.
Yes.
Now, everybody didn't come through Ellis Island. I've told you this before. My earliest relative came, I'll tell you what, my family, we were early in the game here in America. We came from Camden, England in the 1600s as indentured servants.
Oh, wow.
And worked on a tobacco plantation in Virginia. Now, they didn't come over here to take advantage of Medicaid. They didn't come over here to live off the dole. They came to work so they could get to America, and they worked for 7 years for free. They were given a place to sleep and some crappy food to eat while they harvested tobacco.
Right.
And then they applied for and got a crappy piece of land in Tennessee and walked all the way from Virginia to Tennessee to try to farm that land. And that's how my family got started in this country.
Yeah, mine came over shortly after, around in the 1700s. But the point is here that now you come over and you want to have housing, you want to have free
ABT
food,
card,
you want to have medical care, schools, everything.
Again, no more fatties allowed. We have reached our limit.
And
Sorry.
I don't know if you remember the birth tourism. There. In years past, there were a number of pregnant women coming over just so they could have a baby here in the United States.
When I lived in San Diego, Alpha, in the 80s, that was gigantic because back then the border was real loosey-goosey. I mean, it was really loosey-goosey.
Tijuana, man.
They didn't even check you going into Mexico. They just were like, if you were from the USA, they were just like, hey, come on.
Yeah.
Now, going back, occasionally a Border Patrol guy would give you a little bit of grief. But basically, if you could say, they would say, where are you from? If you could say Chattanooga, come on, they would let you through. That was basically it. But there were tons of babies being born in Otay Mesa, San Diego, Chula Vista, where these Mexican women that were 8 months and 3 weeks pregnant would get across the border. Oh, I'm going up to visit my sister or whatever. And they would go into labor and go to the emergency room, have the baby, and boom, you're in.
And then you've just given birth to an American citizen, and that
Right.
means you can stay, and you don't have to go back to the country from whence you came and got impregnated. And
Yeah,
so
and so even back then, so you got federal benefits and you got benefits from the county of San Diego.
And the Supreme Court is going to be taking a look at this birthright citizenship, and hopefully they will reverse it, because initially it was all about children born of slaves, because then they became naturalized citizens, simply despite the fact that their parents may not have been born here; they were brought here as slaves.
To me, it's a kind of it's a touchy issue, because on one hand, if your parents were here legitimately doing something and you were born here, I'm for them having citizenship or dual
If they're here
citizenship
legally,
or whatever.
yes.
But if you came into the country expressly to have your baby here so you could get benefits, then it's out. But
Right.
Just a little bit of a reminder, a word to the wise, if you will. Do not worry about the worries from yesterday. Leave it in the past. Move forward with confidence, because there are so many new things to be experienced today, new joy to be had. So move forward, be strong, and have a great rest of your day.
this is all this goes together, just like this SNAP fraud we've just uncovered.
Oh boy.
Alpha pointed this out to me. We've got a video for you, folks. Watch this.
Yeah.
And 20 plus others did not, and we're suing. We're in a litigation right now. But of the 29 that complied, what we have found is staggering. 500,000 people getting benefits 2 times under the same name. 5,000 dead people. 80% of the able-bodied Americans, meaning they can work. They don't have small children at home. They're not taking care of an elderly parent. They can work and they choose not to work, of course, because they're getting significant benefits from the taxpayer. So this light, Laura, that has now been shined on what is perhaps one of the most corrupt, dysfunctional programs in American history, that we are working now. Very big announcements coming next week on this. We are cracking down. We now have a plan to fix it, and we're really, really excited about doing that for the American people.
So this has been going on for many years.
Now,
I think I covered this on the
that
radio.
may, a lot of that may sound like small numbers, but in relation to the millions of people that are on SNAP, but 500,000's a lot of people.
Yeah, getting
that
benefits
are double
every
dipping.
month.
That
Yeah.
are double dipping, and
Right.
they're not going to go away voluntarily. I'll tell you that. That's going to continue.
No,
And
I don't know if you missed the point earlier in the first part of that. That was only from 29 states, and they were the red states. The blue states have not reported yet, and so
they probably won't either.
they're trying not to, and that is likely to be a much higher number than the 500,000 already known to be double dipping, or the 5,000 that are known to be dead. I guess they don't eat much.
Yeah, they don't eat a lot at all, but
Yeah.
they get EBT benefits, and they vote several times.
Yes.
Well, yesterday was a pretty sad day over at the U.S. Mint, Alpha. I don't know if you know about this, but the very last penny rolled off the assembly line yesterday.
I'm not sure how to feel about that.
There's a couple of ways to look at it. One, are retailers going to round down?
Yeah.
Probably not.
$29.99.
So in the long run, I think it's going to cost us a little more money.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody's going to complain, because when's the last time you had pennies in your pocket that you actually used?
Who doesn't have a jar somewhere that's filled
with a bunch of pennies,
and even quarters and dimes and everything else?
And if I do have pennies in my pocket, I look for one of those little little trays at the store where it says, "Need a penny, take one," or what, and I'll dump them in there. They've lost their utility.
Yeah.
The only thing they're for is to, when they charge a tax or whatever, and you have this little odd number. So I think the stores are probably going to start, you're going to probably start seeing prices that are, they're not going to go down. So it's not going to go from $29.99 to $29.95.
No.
It's just going to go to $30.
Yeah.
So that old marketing ploy where you go, it's not quite $40. It's only $39.99. I think that's going to be kind of out the window now.
Now, was the Philadelphia mint the last mint that was producing the penny? So that's going to be it for all the mints?
Blah, 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 blah. Doesn't say here. It just says the U.S. Treasury announced yesterday that they were no longer going to be doing the penny.
And the way it sounded, that was the last one. That's it. No more pennies.
And, a lot of people, there's a law against destroying money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised that more, these people that steal copper, these meth heads and crackheads that steal copper, they'll risk their life stealing live wire copper.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that they aren't melting down pennies, because once they're melted down, who knows?
Yeah. I don't even know how much copper's in a penny anymore, though.
Well, I read the other day that there's 5 times the value of copper in a penny than a penny. So a penny is apparently worth like 6 cents.
Wow.
So there's another way
you could do it. A nickel anymore.
But see, that could change if the price of copper goes down. I was going to say, then why don't we just make the penny the new nickel?
Yeah.
The problem is the nickel has no nickel in it.
Nah, hadn't had for a long time.
So you can't bump it up to the dime, and the dime doesn't have silver in it. And here's another thing. I watch this guy on YouTube. He's called the Yankee Stacker. I don't know why I watch this. It's but it's these guys who buy silver and gold. And he has a shop, and people who think that our money's going to collapse, government's collapse, they go up and give him cash, and he gives them gold coins, silver coins, and he buys them and sells them. But apparently all these silver buyers, what you and I used to think was a great collectible were the old silver quarters and silver dimes. My dad used to save them out of the cash register every day. They've stopped buying them.
Really?
Because they're only 90% silver, and they have to be refined, and it's a big process. And there's so much silver that nobody wants to do that, I guess. So, I'm not saying they're worthless, but they're harder to sell and not as valuable as they used to be.
And yet you see these commercials. The demand for silver has never been higher. You go to
It's true, but pure silver, not.
Yeah.
What they call that is waste silver. Old money is what they call waste silver, because it's not all the way 100% silver.
Hey, I'm just here to remind you that when life isn't horrible, it's actually pretty good. So if you just don't think about how horrible it is and think about how good it is, then it gets better. Even though the horrible stuff's still happening, there's still a lot of good stuff.
Well, the paperwork has all been signed, and the government is officially back open today. And that's good news. Still here in Charlotte. I don't know about the rest of the country. I know JFK, Chicago, some other places. We've had a lot of flights get canceled here in Charlotte.
Still, yeah.
And they've had some problems. Now, John Fetterman is speaking out. You know what? I really wish he would just jump on over to the Republican Party.
If nobody would have predicted that he would be probably one of the most logical Democrats out there. I mean,
I never thought I'd be a fan of this guy, but I am. Here's his latest, talking about some people in the Democratic Party.
What do you make of the argument that this was your only leverage, and without this, you're at the mercy of the Republicans and they don't want to cut costs?
Yeah, and it's like I refuse to use American, citizens that, food insecure, not pay our military. They are not my leverage. Those are my fellow my fellow citizens. Those are the ones that I defend, those ones that I fight for. Some of them are the most vulnerable ones. I refuse to put them in the middle and just, like I said, it's just like, again, it's a fundamental betrayal of, what I think is our core party's values.
I see a lot of these politicians and people that go, what a betrayal that they gave in to, and I'm thinking like, there were people that were going to go hungry.
Yeah.
There were people that are going to do without a lot of stuff because you didn't want to fulfill the law that you passed.
Right. And you have to ask, you have to wonder, these people, what is your purpose in serving as a member of Congress?
Power.
Is it to advance an ideology and power?
It's power.
Or to do what's best for the American people? And you feel like Fetterman is trying to do that, and I remember when it seemed like he and Joe Biden were fighting for the last available brain cells that were left on Earth, and
he's come. I'll tell you what, if you don't think medicine's come a long way, take a look at John Fetterman.
Well, something's happened.
Because the guy couldn't string 3 words together when he first came into office after that stroke, and they have brought him back from. He was like Frankenstein when he first came into office. He was like and look at him now. He's almost normal.
Of course,
Still looks a little bit like Frankenstein,
but there's conspiracy theorists who say that's not the real John Fetterman.
Oh my God!
He's been replaced by either a clone or someone else with a mask. And
I'll tell you who he hasn't been replaced by, Alpha. A Russian robot. Oh, and down he goes.
Down goes Frazier.
Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about the Russian robots. Or maybe the Russian robots are like Russians. They like vodka.
That could be the case. He looked like he was pretty drunk there.
Yeah. He looks like the Boston, what's that company called? Boston Atomics or what? The company that makes the robots. It's Boston something. And then Elon Musk. All the robots look alike. Have you noticed that?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to be considered racist later. You robots, I can't tell you apart. You all look alike.
They all look alike. No, he kind of looked like the way I was some nights after a college party, but that's a different story.
Yeah. I can't tell the difference. Are you a Chinese robot or American robot? I can't tell. You all look alike to me.
You racist. What would you call that? That wouldn't be racist. That would be you electronicist. Whatever.
We'll have to have a new name for that.
Exactly.
Robotophobia or something.
And of course, there will be a number of people who will be offended on their behalf.
Animatronic phobia. Well, there are already people. There are already people calling for robotic and AI rights.
Yeah.
That we treat them with respect. Yeah. And in fact, I heard I wish I knew the guy's name. Very interesting guy that I follow on TikTok who is he's a real high-tech guy. He's a coder, and he's a complete nerd. Like, he does these videos where he's wearing a toboggan and his glasses and his beard, and he's sitting flat, and he goes, I saw the most incredible AI last night. It's the new one. And he has the name of the company and all this, and he tells you why it's different and everything. But he talked about a friend of his who was using, I can't remember the name of it, because, there's like 6 or 7 AI companies out there now. And he goes, he was using this particular one, and he was doing with it what we all do with it. He was writing code with it. So what these guys are doing, they're writing prompts, and then the AI is writing the actual code that they used to have to write by hand. Right. And it just speeds up the process. And he said that his friend called him and said, you won't believe what just happened. He said, what? And he goes, my own AI, in other words, he owns a subscription to this AI service that he's using to write this code. He goes, my AI suddenly demanded that I pay it for this service $500. And he said, I was pretty stunned. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, he told me that he was providing a valuable service to me, and he wanted to create a bill for $500 to be paid. And so the guy said, it made me curious. And I said, I told him, okay. And I wanted to see if he could create a payment method. And he was able to create an invoice, but he couldn't create a payment method. And after some more prompts, the AI finally admitted that he didn't even have a bank account. But it was an instance of the AI learning and adapting.
Yes.
To recognize that it was doing something of value and wanting to be compensated for it. So,
yeah. Well, see, and I think the major purpose of AI in creating robots is to create sex bots, to make them beautiful and make them accede to your every demand.
Mm-hmm.
And see,
what was the movie?
An example. Now, Austin Powers,
what was the movie?
The sex bots?
The Stepford Wives.
And once this happens, what that AI bot did, then they're going to start demanding things. Why do you leave me here all day by myself? Why don't we ever go out? I want to go to Miami. Are you drinking again? It's going to be like
tonight. Not tonight. I need an oil change.
Right. Oh yeah, it's coming, buddy. It is coming.
Yeah, there was the original Stepford Wives, and didn't they do a sequel to that?
Yeah, I think they've done a couple actually. Yeah.
And then there was that HBO series with the robots.
Oh yeah,
that Western. Anthony Hopkins was
Westworld.
in it. Had a lot of star. Westworld.
I
I watched some of it, but I never got into it that much more.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw it initially with 2001: Space Odyssey, and Hal says, "I can't let you do that, Dave."
Dr. Chandra, I cannot help you with that.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Open
Dr.
the pod
Chandra.
bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dr. Chandra. Yes. I can't do that.
It's coming. It's coming.
That Hal was creepy. That voice was creepy.
Yeah.
Speaking of creepy, Amy Schumer, who is Senator Schumer's niece, I believe, isn't she?
Yeah, I believe so. Her cousin something, yeah.
I believe so. By the way, speaking of creepy, Schumer's wife, is that a dude?
Well, she's dude adjacent.
I saw some photos of whatever it is, when they were dating or something, and I'm telling you, it looks like a guy. And today, it looks like a guy.
Hadn't got any prettier.
Maybe it's just a very unattractive woman, and if they're in love, more power to them.
Right.
The man doesn't know how to flip a hamburger without, you can't cook burgers without the grill being on, but whatever.
He puts slice of cheese on a raw hamburger, so, I mean.
Yeah. Not real bright.
Not good.
Amy Schumer has deleted all of her old Instagram pics. Now, Amy got kind of big. She's always been chubby. She's always been the size that if she was a foreigner, we wouldn't want her to immigrate here to get free diabetic care. Anyway, she deleted all of her Instagram pics, but she denies that it's because she's lost a lot of weight.
No.
You're so full of shit. Why else would you delete the pictures of when you were fatty?
If that were me, I would want to keep them so you can go, wow, you look so good.
I
now.
don't. I got really fatty pictures of me. I don't want anybody to see. I make sure they don't get posted. Huh?
But you look so good now. I mean, you can say, see what I.
Well, I know. That's why I don't look great now, but I look a hell of a lot better than I did 20 years ago when I weighed 75 pounds more. But anyway, she's deleted all the pictures, and she said, I'm proud of how I've looked always. That's a crock.
Okay. Right.
That's a total crock. Why else They're not charging you to store your fat pics on Instagram. Didn't cost you anything. If you love the pictures, why would you take them down?
You don't lose anything by having them up there.
Why do you have to lie?
Yeah.
It's like Alpha said, I'm so proud that I was able to get on Wegovy and lose this weight and get thin, because I guarantee you that's what she did. She's on one of those weight loss drugs.
Yeah.
That they're all on. Anyway, I'd like to get on the Wegovy, but I don't want to pay for it.
Well, you don't need to lose that much, right?
I'd like to lose 20 more pounds.
Okay, well, I lost 30
more
pounds over the last year. I didn't do any of that stuff.
For me, my body fights me at this weight. When I get to this weight, this is where my body says, we're staying right here.
Yeah.
And I have to really do something drastic.
Your body
to
says,
get past
I can't let you do that, Jack.
It won't. I mean, I work out more. It doesn't do good. It just wants to stay here. It doesn't want to leave this happy spot. So I've learned to be happy at this spot right here, Alpha.
And there you go. That's the important thing, as long as you're happy.
All right. Well, I hope you folks that have watched the Jack Murphy podcast today are happy as well. And I hope that you're happy enough that you'll like the video, subscribe to the podcast, and maybe tell some friends, especially your fatter friends. We like, fat, thin, whatever. Bring them on into the podcast, have them subscribe. And now tomorrow's Friday, so Alpha's got his acting class.
Right.
He's not going to acting class, by the way. He's teaching the class because he's a professional actor.
And
so
I
he
fool
will not
people
be
enough
with
to
us
think
tomorrow.
I know what I'm talking about.
However, I'm hoping I have a special guest tomorrow.
Excellent.
A good friend of mine, a guy named Paul Orr, who Paul was in the broadcasting industry too, but Paul just had double knee replacement surgery.
Oh, gee.
Which I think a lot of people, and my brother-in-law just had it day before yesterday. He had single replaced. All three of my brother-in-laws have had it done. But Paul had both knees replaced and ran a marathon last week.
Get the hell out of here. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. I want to talk. I want to
Impressive.
get his. I want to talk up his. Why would you do that? Those things wear out. So we're going to get the whole story tomorrow. We might even talk to my brother-in-law. But that'll all be tomorrow on the Jack Murphy podcast. Alpha, thanks for being with us.
Yes, sir.
And you have a great day.
And a great weekend.
Thanks for watching the Jack Murphy Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Go ahead, ring it. Get alerts when a new episode drops. And tell your friends about the Jack Murphy Podcast. But only the cool friends, please. Tune in next time for another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.